It's Friday night, and I'm hitting record at exactly 10 p.m. I'm Joey Only Kirby Weather Dude. Welcome to the channel. This is another show about how much the weather sucks. Of course, here's our big storm out in the Pacific right now, and it's deepening and getting deeper and deeper, like I said it would. It used to be two storms, and it's because of the way they came together, the Fujiwara effect, that this thing's going to warble around a little bit, and it's also going to invite the next one in behind it quickly. We've kind of been in a pattern for a while where it's been like every weekend the next storm hits. Well, this time it's going to jump ahead, and we're going to get one midweek as well, and then one in the weekend probably after that. So it's the superstorm train right now here on the Bad News Show. Let's go. There it is. This is bad news. My God.
Falling out right now.
Anything could happen. Get on! Wow. I'll watch the video later. They dry mopping this. Over the last 6 hours, this storm has really pulled itself together. It was two storms. There was a big high pressure that was blocking the two of them. Well, and it was a cutoff low down here. What happened was the two storms have managed to break through and find each other, and the way that the counterclockwise motion of a cyclone goes is it fed up into this one, and this one is now deepening and deepening, and the way that they join together has created a bit of a warble. We'll come back to this image in a few minutes. Here's our 500 millibar animation. This is a hurricane down here, Christy. It's hitting that high pressure down there, and it's very dry, and that will kill that hurricane. So here's our jet stream bending down as we come into next week, Tuesday, in time for our next storm. There it is right there. Now, why are we getting this next storm so quickly? Because of the Fujiwara effect of dynamics. When cyclones are in proximity to one another, their centers will circle each other cyclonically, counterclockwise in the northern hemisphere and clockwise in the southern hemisphere. And when I say cyclones, we in the weather world are referring to cyclonic motion. Right? So that means storms that are moving in the north hemisphere counterclockwise, which is what storms do. That's so a high pressure is an anticyclone, a low pressure system is a cyclone. Now, a cyclone can be a tornado. They used to call a tornado a cyclone, but we don't call them that anymore. And I wish they would just call all hurricanes across the world, not use the words typhoon and cyclone in other places. I just wish it would be hurricanes across the board, so that would be simpler for everyone to understand this concept. Two cyclones merge and eventually spiral into the center point and merge. Here's an example of two hurricanes, Odette and Soroya. You can see how they come together and chase each other around and reform in the middle as one. Then you have a bit of an example here of two typhoons interacting with each other as well. And the joining of them has created some eddies in their overall motion out there in the ocean. Think of the atmosphere like these eddies in the water. And sometimes you get, because of two little whirls coming together in such a way that it creates a back eddy in behind them. You see several examples of that if you watch this motion through a couple times, right? So if you imagine our atmosphere is much like water, and that's, more or less what's going on up there. It's these eddies. That's why this storm, it was closer to here at one point today, and it's now kind of backed off. And what's going on is it's got this sort of a eddy going on before it can move inland. So it's taking its time, which means it's going to batter the coast more and more. It's not a rain story this weekend the way that last week was a rain story. This is more of a wind story. And we have some strong winds happening right now at 10 o'clock at night. Reported wind gusts of 111 kilometers an hour. Up there on the northern tip of Vancouver Island, 72s and 85 gusts, 61s at Sandspit, 85 gusts there. At the very southern tip of Haida Gwaii, 93s. Got a 78 up here with a 98 in there. I saw over 100 last time I was looking at this, getting ready. Here's a 97 down here. There you go. 111 gust, some lighthouse or something like that there on the Vancouver Island northwest corner. So still pretty calm in the lower mainland, but they have these wind warnings going on. And it's good that they expanded them to include the metro area. We were talking about that, Mark and I, on the show last night. That, hey, it doesn't make any sense why they wouldn't include Vancouver. And yes, 90 kilometer an hour gusts. High winds may cause tree branches to break. That's in Metro Vancouver, Southwest, Southeast, Greater Victoria, Southern Gulf Islands, East Vancouver Island, Nanaimo, Campbell River, up at the top end of Vancouver Island. When gusts may cause damage, they are occurring. Maybe see 110s over exposed coastal sections. Well, we just saw that. Right now, that was a reported wind. So an intense frontal system will move across Vancouver Island this evening. Strong southeasterly winds, 90, gusting to 110, are expected to develop over exposed coastal sections of North Vancouver Island this evening. The strongest winds will ease overnight as the front pushes inland, but windy conditions are still expected for Saturday. For a large section, we got a special weather statement for strong winds as well up the Sunshine Coast. as well as Howe Sound. If we go over to Coquihalla Highway, Hope to Merritt Connector and all that, the strong Pacific funnel system will push into the south coast and the southern interior BC late tonight. Snow levels will rise from 1,000 meters to 2,000 meters. So warmer air is being brought up because of the counterclockwise motion of the storm, bringing air from the south. Periods of mixed rain and wet flurries with a risk of freezing rain are possible for high elevation passes along the southern interior highways overnight Saturday. And once again, BC has the worst weather this weekend of anywhere in Canada. And that also includes down in the southern pass here, Highway 3, Kootenays area as well. And as well, wind warnings on Haida Gwaii. You have to go pretty far east to find, another weather warning of any kind in Canada tonight. 5 to 10 centimeters there in Buckens. And up to the north, we still have storm surge warnings happening up there. And as I said, there is no real flood potential with this one. This is totally a wind event, this storm, although it's bringing some heavy rains with it, but it's not like we saw last weekend. Although I think some of the storms coming may be like last weekend. So we're going to watch how our storm warbles around out there before it starts to make a more eastward move into shore. So it's giving one strong bash Saturday overnight. So by the time a lot of you see this Saturday morning, you'll already have been experiencing some of this precipitation, some of this rain, freezing rain possible up through some of those passes and whatnot. I would not want to be I think, tomorrow morning over Highway 1 into Revelstoke. And we're going to come back to that warble thing I was talking about and why this will bring another storm in on Wednesday. But for now, we're going to just continue to focus on the weekend and looking at how a strong band of snow is probably moving through Fort Nelson into tomorrow early evening. Strong winds and rain hammering in the coast. You're going to take a pretty good slamming of it. The southern Gulf Islands, you can see some heavy precipitation coming into the Olympic Mountains there. This low will start to lose some steam by Sunday morning. You can see it's starting to raise in pressure a little bit, but it's sending a lot of precipitation into southern BC. Caribou, not so much, but a little bit of a band going on through the piece as well into northern Alberta. Now that Alberta clipper starting to form, and that's a repeat of last week again. For them, you're going to see snow on the backside of it. Going to be treacherous to drive in through those mountains. The slow taking its time to come ashore. Still Sunday, it hasn't quite made it there. Still trying to, and it's kind of basically getting squeezed out and dying out. And this becoming the dominant story, this new low. So the thing that I wanted to talk to about with the way that the warble brought in kind of a change in the dynamics of how things were moving in the North Pacific is it's going to usher this next storm in almost immediately by Wednesday. And you can see still Monday morning, you might be commuting through some flurries in southern BC. If you're going through mountain passes again, this is the big danger. But Saturday is going to be fairly warm. Temperatures are going to be up when the storm's pulling the warm air ahead of it as it comes, as it's affecting southern British Columbia. But that will change on the backside as it brings cool air down from the north, with that counterclockwise motion. Once again, that's so key to understanding it's low pressure and high pressure and what they're trying to do. So still on Monday, we haven't fully worked out with some of the garbage that's trailing in behind there, right? But we have our next storm that warbled along out there, and that'll be sort of next week's story. But this one looks like it's going to be pretty deep, and the guy in behind it looks like it wants to get even deeper. So, we're paying attention to some of these storms. But so look for next week, Wednesday sometime. We're going to have another episode. On Saturday morning, you have that warm effect. The high mountains are going to be seeing some snow in a mix, maybe some freezing rain in there as well. And some solid precipitation through southern BC. Nothing too crazy. But that warmth will kind of keep snow from being the story. And then you can see how that cyclonic system here is going to take a second run now. It's kind of did this and came together, not so dramatically as I just showed you, but, and then left an eddy in behind that caused this guy to dance around and take its time coming into shore. So this GFS has it doing something a little different than the ECMWF that we just looked at had, but more or less the precipitation looks to be fairly similar, in what they expect. And we know that winds are going to be the big story here. We see how the winds will start picking up in southern BC as we come into Saturday morning. You're going to see moments of strong winds through Chilcotin, Caribou, places like that, especially at the mountaintops. Going to get a little bit windy down south of the border especially. And you look at Calgary down through Pincher Creek, those foothills areas, they tend to be so windy as they often are. So look for your winds to pick up at times this weekend, right? But all in all, not crazy rain accumulation. Maybe enough, though, that saturated grounds may have landslides in places. So that is still an ongoing threat, even if we're not getting the amount. And I think because the ground is saturated, trees could come down more easily in this wind. So these are some local concerns that you may have. But overall, this precipitation is beneficial in ending what has been drought for about 2 years in BC. We've really seen the precip come on over the last 2 months and start to turn the page on that. And that's good. We want this. We want a lot of this precipitation. This is really what we do want. And we want big, solid snowpacks. So we're happy to see that some of these big mountain ranges are going to start putting some snow on through this over the next bunch of days, right? And, we'll look at the next ones coming after this, what they could do. But we could see some considerable storm totals in BC over the next 10 to 15 days. And this doesn't seem like it's going to be stopping anytime soon. As we coming into midnight, by the time this comes out, you will see, like, if you won't be flying. Nobody who's watching this will be flying, but nonetheless, occasional cumulus going on up there, some turbulent skies, strong winds up in front. You got this warm front moving in the sector in front of the cold front, which is the cyclonic motion we've been talking about, right? That'll bring heavy winds down to the south, cold fronts in behind. It's sneaky. It'll take its time coming. Saturday morning, you'll see that precip starting to move in. You'll see some of those winds picking up further into the coast mountains. And by the time we come into the afternoon, you're going to see kind of a wide array of precipitation possibilities. You could see freezing rain up and down the Rockies. I really think that you do not want to be risking on Saturday going across the Great Divide. And that's a little weird looking eye here, the Eye of Ra. That is a freezing rain indicator. Strong winds will continue. You're going to have the cold front coming in behind. So at some point, you're going to have some of this precip changing to snow in places further north. You probably get snow as it is even here in Wells, where it's 1.1 right now degrees. So it's substantially warmer at this time of night than it's been in a bunch of days. Tomorrow, coming in the afternoon, occasionally towering cumulus could be going on in these sectors down in the south. So that does mean we could see some lightning down there as well. Already right now, and I apologize if I'm a little more reserved than usual tonight. It's because it's Friday night and the kids are in bed, and I don't want to be all animated and shouting like I so often am. So we do have lines of snow coming through, although it looks like it's just kind of missing us here in Wells, this one. A little bit of snow going up through Vanderhoof, some flurries there along Highway 16 corridor to the west of Prince George happening right now already. We will see how that develops through the night, but that's kind of the first shots fired after it's been a pretty nice week going on for a lot of us here. And it was a pretty good week. I enjoyed it while I had it. So anyways, everybody, thanks for the support. A lot of new people here in the channel. So make sure you check out a lot of the other videos we got on here. I got a whole bunch of wildfire videos and thunderstorm videos and mountain climbing videos, and you name it, it's here on the channel. This is a different kind of channel right here, up here in Wells, BC. 3,935 feet above sea level here, living up above everybody at the top. So make sure you can, there's lots of ways you can support the channel here if you would like to. Definitely telling a friend, sharing, subscribing, even just watching a video, and you have to sit through that 15 or 20 second advertisement, whatever YouTube throws in the front. And I could be greedy. I could put more in the middle of the episode, but I won't. Because I feel like that's interfering with my art. So, but you sit through that one commercial at the front, and that's, gives me some revenue. That's supporting me, right? But also you could join the channel, become a member. There's some content there that's not going to be ever released to the rest of you. And Patreon as well, great way to support me. And my friends as well, like Derek, who helped me get a new setup for the microphones here. So thank you very much. Everyone's helped build this channel. You've helped me grow this to such a thing over the years, where I used to just just run interior weather and wilderness watchers, but now I'm talking, and I like talking. I'm enjoying this. So stay safe out there, and we're going to have details for you later in the weekend, maybe Sunday night or Monday morning. I'll have kind of a fresh look at what this next storm is going to look like, and the one after that. I feel like it's sort of too early to tell. There's a lot of not really much confidence in the models beyond the second one coming on Wednesday, because like I say, there's just sort of this eddy system going on where things are sort of swirling around out there, trying to restabilize after the way these two storms have come together. And it's not that unusual that two storms have come together, but it's sort of unusual for this part of the Pacific because generally that high sitting off the California coast is not allowing for a storm to develop down there. Now we had a Category 5 hurricane just happen, Christy, down there, which is noteworthy. It didn't really bother anybody, but it's going to add some more precipitation in the mix for more moisture into the mix, and it's going to also mess with the overall fluid mechanics of where the jet stream is going to be and how storms are going to be delivered over the next week or two. So, we'll come back to this in a number of days, and we'll see where things are going from here. But for now, we know this weekend's going to be a bit of a mess. And, I told you so here on the Bad News Show. Okay, thanks, everybody, for being here. We'll talk to you next time. Bye now.